The Hedera network has added its 32nd governing council member in the form of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Their plan is to, as it says here, expedite the tokenization of securities in Kenya's capital markets. Now, this story came out over the Halloween weekend, and admittedly, I was a bit busy chasing around a bingo and an Ender Dragon, but I highlighted the crux of this relationship right here. The admission to the council will provide the NSC the ability to accelerate the launch of digital assets and tokenized securities on its exchange, leveraging Hedera's secure, transparent, and scalable technology. So what the Securities Exchange wants to do is incorporate Hedera's network, their technology, into the coming digital asset related products that they have in mind. And after looking into this exchange for just a little bit, I can tell you, they laid some groundwork before this relationship was announced, before they became a council member. And I'm going to show you what that groundwork was. Now, before we get into it, I must share this with you, and I got to introduce myself. Welcome. My name is Wade. You're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in this space since 2019. I've researched over 1,000 digital assets, and I run this show simply to share all that knowledge with you. Now, before we get into this good, I need to share this PDF with you. It's absolutely free, and I call it the 5 verticals of crypto. Listen, I remember being new. I remember being in my first year, being tugged and pulled in so many different directions. Well, I made this PDF for the folks that are new to get a general understanding of what this industry truly is. It'll also come with tools, resources, links to different crypto ecosystems, both good and bad, to give you the best idea of what to expect when you invest into any project. I don't endorse any of the projects on this list. We talk about some of them we don't, some of them we covered in the past. But my point was to give you the best perspective on any crypto project. And that's what you'll find in this PDF, as well as links to several analytics websites, news websites, things like that. Trust me, it'll save you a heap ton of time. Trying to find these on your own. And like I said, I remember being new to the space. It was hectic. So that's my way of giving back. Now let's look at this NSE, Nairobi Securities Exchange. According to the information that I found, when it comes to securities exchanges in Africa, they're the number one. They're the top guys. And they recently had new leadership come in, and that's this guy here, Frank Mwiti. And forgive me if I mispronounce that. But they have an X account. And on their account, they posted the governing council membership, and it was this gentleman who was quoted as speaking on Hedera's technology and how excited he was to start working with them. Now, this particular clip is focused on something else, but he even hints at the fact that he ain't a regular guy. So he plans on taking this company in a completely new direction the best way that he can. And whenever I hear that, I often think digital assets. Now, because this was an international story, I had to really stretch out and find some international resources, and boy, did I. So shout out to Codzilla, whoever you may be, and shout out BitcoinKE.io for covering this story and giving us some very interesting added context. When I said that a groundwork had been laid prior to this announcement, well, Codzilla put that information together for us. Now, you can see the same headline here. Nairobi Security Exchange joins Hedera's network to accelerate tokenization of real-world assets. Also notice the slight different wording based on the publication. That matters, guys. But at the top, he shares the X post from their account, as I mentioned here. And if you click on that, it'll take you to where it shows Mwiti and his quote. But I want you to pay attention to what they talked about further down in the article. This is where things start to expand. So what he goes into is the NSC's work over the last 12 to 24 months in the blockchain space. The first story that we're going to talk about is this one here. Mozambique's Empower raises over $600,000 from Cardano after NSC proposes tokenization solution for Kenya's housing market. So Empower is a fintech that is supported by, as you can see here, NSC. And what this application is for, it allows Kenyan residents to essentially pay their rent with digital currencies. Not specifically HBAR or anything like that, but HBAR in this sense, and I'll show you that in a second as well, would be used as the underlying infrastructure to facilitate those payments, which we know that's what Hedera is good for. So this was a very interesting use case. There's also some statistics around the mortgage rates in Kenya compared to other developed countries, developed nations, and less than 1% of Kenyan citizens have a mortgage. I did not know that. Compared to the number that they compared it to was the UK, and there was about 11 million people with a mortgage, which equated to about 10% of their population. That's mind-blowing. But it's those types of things that the utility projects, these certain assets, these DLT-based assets are looking to solve. So Empower is backed by NSC. And then a few months prior to that, November of 2023, this last story, that was in August 12th of this year. This was November. Mozambique's Empower Pay integrates Hedera Hashgraph to enable fiat payments by tenants across Africa. And you want to know something interesting? Someone else who participated in this program was Standard Bank, which is also Hedera's Hedera governing council member and the largest bank in Africa. And also in that press release, to that point, Frank does mention looking forward to working with other Hedera governing council members. And the only one that I can think of off top would be the neighborhood bank, Standard Bank, since they've already have a relationship stemming from past work. That's just my opinion there on that one. But you could see that their program, their platform, Empower, had already incorporated Hedera Hashgraph before, which is why I said a groundwork had been laid. And you may be wondering, well, they got that 600K from Cardano. Wouldn't that, bring into question exactly what their allegiances were? Well, you may be interested to know that not too long ago, Cardano and Hedera joined forces to create something called the DREC Alliance. And to summarize, what this is a safety net. They're looking to create a digital safety net for data. So that way, when applications like an Empower were to run on these networks, in the event that any data was lost, they'd be able to retrieve it. So, for example, Empower wants to run on Cardano and Hedera, but there's a situation where on the Cardano side, they go do a transaction and some data is missing. There's a potential that because Hedera also has a backup of that registry, they can kick that potential missing data back over to the Cardano network, and then the transaction can be restored. That's the type of world that we're living in here. So when I saw that, I definitely didn't miss their allegiance to a specific network. I'll be the first to tell you there's no tribalism over here. This is going to be a world of connected networks, as we can clearly see right here. But what I did notice is that now they're beginning to build on top of this alliance. Applications can then make use of this as an extra safety net to expand into more markets, particularly the Kenyan capital markets. But it goes up to one more level, guys, because they talked about digital exchange products, right? Digital asset products, digital asset securities. Well, back in August, East Africa, Nairobi Securities Exchange signs MOU to introduce digital asset exchange traded products in collaboration with Valor and Solfi. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hedera ETPs from Valor are affiliated companies that may be the first digital asset offering. So yes, I remember this story. It came out back in the summertime, but a company named Valor debuted the first ever exchange trading product backed by Hedera. So this was meant to track Hedera's performance in the market. Recently, they added it to their Spotlight stock market, which is a secondary stock market. I could compare it to a public.com in the sense where it's their version that allows investors that may not have, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they want to invest just a few dollars to get exposure to companies that ain't exactly mainstream yet. They can do it through that platform. So that's where that exchange traded product has been sitting, in case you've been wondering, because we did cover that story. But I like the collaboration that's going on here. Let's read into this a little bit and get some details. So Kenya's Nairobi Securities Exchange has signed a memorandum of understanding with Valor, a global crypto fund issuer, and SoFi, a financial instrument issuance platform, on issuing and trading digital asset exchange traded products on the NSE in Kenya. According to the press release by Valor, the key objectives of this MOU include facilitating the creation, issuance, and trading of digital asset exchange products on the NSE by leveraging Valor's extensive expertise in digital assets and exchange traded products. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Hedera HTPs, what was I looking at? From Valor and affiliated companies may be the first digital asset offerings on the NSE. The ETPs will be passported to the NSE according to the statement. So this infrastructure was set up back in August. And then within a few months, we get the announcement that they have joined the governing council. I would call that one heck of a turnaround. I really would. And if you want to take it a step further, guys, and you bring in the regulatory discussion, well, Kenya is in a pretty interesting spot. All right. They're right outside of South Africa, which we know is, well, a little bit northeast of South Africa, but we know that's still a hotbed. Standard Bank, they're doing work all throughout Africa. That's the Hedera governing council member that I would assume that they'd be working with first. But it's just fascinating to see how fast these things turn around, man. It really is. Now, there's another clip here that Godzilla added at the bottom of this story that shares Central Bank of Kenya's stance on cryptocurrencies. Now, this was back in 2022, so this gives us added context. Take a listen to what he has to say.
First, the question about cryptocurrencies and things like that, we've already spoken to the issue of cryptocurrencies, but I think we'll be speaking more, let's say, more completely about this space, not just cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency is one sliver, one little area. So we'll be speaking more completely about this in the near future, in the medium term, but I guess more in the near term. So please be patient on that. But suffices to say that our position has not changed on any of those products that are out there.
So the fact that he is aware that it isn't just crypto, that crypto is a small section of it, shows me that they are aware of the DLT, the blockchain aspect, the utility aspect to this market. And that's going to play very well in our favor. Now, on Saturday, had a pretty interesting episode come out, guys, talking about the Hedera networks, ISO, little speculation, a little theory, a little tokenization, right? And I did see a comment where one of you asked about Hedera's role in that. Now, I didn't want to overload the video or I didn't want to overload the episode. I felt like it was already packed enough. But Hedera, as well as the Quant Network, is involved. And that's what I have here. You can see I wrote this out. This is a little bit of where the information came from, but this is definitely much deeper. I plan on making this publicly available once it's finished, but this is going to be a collection of, we'll say, terms, names that you can look up in relation to these Hedera networks that'll give you the idea of how they're all connected. And yes, I have Quant and Hedera being the opposite pillars, the north and south poles for these networks that are in the middle. Because Quant has the Overledger Gateway, and Hedera, their position is just being open source, which allows them to create a number of things. And now that they have Chainlink feeding them real world data, that almost puts them on the same level as a quant network when it comes to the technical infrastructure, the build, and what they're able to do. So that is why they're on this chart. And you can see I have names and who they're associated with. Hedera just became one of the founding members of the Hyperledger Decentralized Trust, which was formerly known as the Linux Foundation, if I'm not mistaken. And the Linux Foundation popped up on that Interledger Protocol family diagram that we went over in Saturday's episode. So definitely, Hedera is tied in. And all you have to remember when it comes to ISO is the readability factor. Can the network process in any shape or form those new messaging syntax that will be coming from central banks, small banks, whoever is running a financial transaction in the modern payments era will have to be able to read those messages. That is where these networks would fall into place. And I can definitely say that Hedera has that capability alongside Quan and the other names that you see here. So yeah, I'm not the flyest graphic designer in the world, but I can put some information together for sure. Now, we're going to break down this, not in this episode, of course, but I can't wait to share this with you guys. It's been years worth of work here to put all of this together. And the reason why I do it is because, like I mentioned in Saturday's episode, the investors of the last era that caught the social media run, that caught the internet age, that caught the fintechs before Cash App, before Square, before Klarna, before Chime. Somebody knew what those companies were doing and where they were headed towards prior to them becoming mainstream. I feel like we are in the same position here. We just got to put in work, and that's what I'm willing to do with y'all. So with that, again, I want to urge you to pick up your DHN Crypto Starter Kit, 5 verticals of crypto, to give you the best understanding of this crazy crypto space. And like I said, I've been in the space since 2019, and I've used a number of tools. And I'll be honest with you, the easiest place to buy Bitcoin is Cash App. It truly is, guys. Now, these links will be in the pinned comment, as well as you can scan the QR code on your screen here, take you straight to it. Outside of Cash App, when it comes to strictly crypto, I've been using Uphold for years. It's literally the easiest platform to get on. And then when you get to a second level in your crypto journey and you want to explore trading, they also have a platform for that as well. Well, they have a section of their platform for that as well. So again, you see the QR code there as well. And we can't forget about the traditional stocks, guys. Robinhood. I've been holding an ETF for a number of years and completely forgot about it. But I have been getting dividends. Not a whole lot, but I've been getting something ever since I've been holding it, and that just clicked to me, and I want to share that with you. So again, scan the QR code there. You can get access to that. And then lastly, guys, consider becoming a member of the channel. Consider becoming a member of the channel. We got some pretty good content, some pretty educational, informative content for you, especially this understanding blockchain basics and the classifier crypto. Those are videos that will give you foundational information to kickstart you into any asset that you want to get into. Any asset. And then you see we're talking bricks. Got another update coming this week. And as well as this, changes on the horizon, dawn of the golden age. If you want a historical rundown of the entire financial world and how it got to where it is today, I would advise you to check that video out. But at the end of the day, man, Hedera expansion is good to see. And expanding into Africa is even better because we know that that is a hotbed for technology. Covered it several times. I got a whole doc about it. Might want to check that out. With that, though, y'all know what time it is. if that money is digital, so is the hustle.